because you don't want to have all them gassy juices on your beans. Gotta rinse them off. Hi, I'm Kristen. Thank you for coming to my channel, and thank you for joining me on my journey through life that's Missouri made. Hey, it's that time of year. The weather's changing. No, Kristen, it's only like the first week of September. Yeah, I know, but I've seen at least one tree with its leaves changing. So that means that I can do what I want. One thing I am huge on, it's the dish that goes hand in hand with football season, with cold weather. If you haven't guessed it, I'm talking about chili. I'm gonna start with the seasoning. I know, like, my dad uses it. He loves, I think it's called 3 Alarm maybe, or something to do with firefighters. I'm not a recipe kind of person. 9 times out of 10, if I find a recipe and I try it, I don't like it. I'm not gonna get in the middle of like the bean argument. I put beans in my chili. I like beans in my chili. I also don't use like chunk meat, you know. It's kind of a funny way of putting meat. It's kind of like the word moist, chunk. But I'm just going to walk you through that process. So we got to get the seasoning made. One of the boys requested that I make this last night, so I got to get my supply up. It's that time of year. It's fall, y'all. Also, if you can only give out 1 like to a YouTube video a day, if you could give that to me, that would be super awesome. That would let me know that I put a smile on at least one person's face, and that's really all I can ask for. So if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, watch me progress and go through this process, that'd be awesome. And I appreciate you. Let's get started. So here is my chili seasoning recipe. Here's my jar. I made some up last night, but I know I'm gonna need more, and it gives me the opportunity to do this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over this with you. This makes about 1.5 cups, 1.25 cups-ish. 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of chili powder. If you've made this and you don't like it, first of all, I'm sorry if you feel like you wasted your spices. However, it's an opportunity for you to learn what you like and what you don't like, and that's the point of this. You don't have to, if you want to follow my recipe exactly, you can. If you don't want to, feel free to make some changes based on your taste. So I've got 1/2 cup of chili powder, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, and I'll put all of the ingredients like in the comment section down below. 2 teaspoons of white sugar, like just regular sugar, whatever sugar you use. 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of dried basil, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. The last thing that I do is I put in a tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. Chocolate in the chili. Just trust me. Let's get started. Let me grab a bowl. Real time, y'all. We're doing it. I don't need all those big ones. It's like the biggest tablespoon ever. I used to use these, like the cheapy ones, I think from Walmart or whatever, which they're fine. I love them. I use them for like coffee scoops or whatever. This monstrosity. I feel like it could swallow that, but they're supposed to be the same. Also, I don't have one of those cordless mics yet, my little Mikey mic. So if I trip over my umbilical cord here, don't laugh at me. I might edit it out, I might not. Just don't laugh at me. my big old honkin' all-purpose flour, which I was making this up last night and thought to myself, this is not enough. I need more. So, all right. I need more sugar. All right, there's that. Now, oh, chili powder. You like my little spice shells? I made them. I made them based off of I like these little organic spice jars from Walmart. And so I took those spice jars and I made like a spice rack that could fit these. All right, 1/2 cup of chili powder, onion powder, teaspoon of onion powder, garlic, granulated garlic, sugar, 2 teeny spoonies. All right, so am I being exact? No. Sometimes there's a little more, sometimes there's a little less. Sometimes my teaspoons look like this. Sometimes my teaspoons look perfect, or they might be like a 1/2 thingy. All right, cumin. Some people call it cumin, but people say hello different, so call it whatever you want. Dried parsley. I actually have a little jar like that of parsley, but I ran out of that little jar, so I got this big old honker out. 1, 2. I'm supposed to be home by myself, and I think my dog just opened the door. It kind of made my backside twitch a little. All right, salt, sea salt, not iodized. Oh, Kristen, you're getting your parsley and the salt. Nobody's gonna know but me. And then I'm the one that cooks, so I put a teaspoon in there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put 3 in here because that makes up a tablespoon, but it's a tablespoon of salt. Basil, teaspoon of that. Ding. I used to put dill in here. Dill is actually a very versatile spice. You can use it for a lot of things. You like a little twang. It doesn't make it taste like pickles. It doesn't. It's a really versatile spice. I didn't have basil one time. I feel like I need a drink. I don't talk this much usually. Dill is a very versatile spice. I didn't have basil one time, and I think that's why I used dill. And then I was like, oh, that tastes good. And you can do that. You can just kind of, tweak it. You want to add a teaspoon of oregano, add that. You want to add, I wouldn't add, I guess if you want a teaspoon of thyme in there, you could, but it might, just regular old black pepper. If you want to fresh crack yours, you can. I only do that on meat because my hands start to hurt whenever I try to crack up that much. Holy crap, I just put a whole teaspoon. See? I put a teaspoon of pepper in here, and my recipe is a 1/2 teaspoon. Oh well. Celery seed. I use celery seed in a lot of things. Soups, pretty much every soup has celery seed in it. That's a 1/2 teaspoon. And my chicken salad. I did like a little video last night on my chicken salad, but it was kind of messy. I had mayonnaise all over my hands, so I'll probably redo that one. I make it all the time for Josh. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, this is another thing. This honker is my 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is not a 1/4 of this. This is like, it's like a 1/3. It's like, these things are weird. They're kind of weird. So I don't do like a whole, and plus I just put a whole teaspoon of black pepper in here. So I probably don't need a whole lot of this cayenne. So I'm just doing like a 1/2 of this one. There we go. So I guess according to this brand, that's an 1/8, but that seemed like a 1/4 teaspoon on this brand. Cocoa powder. tablespoon of cocoa powder. There we go. Ding, ding. All right, so we're gonna mix it up. Good little mixy mix. Mixing it up. Beautiful. I think I've got all of the lumps. Looks like there's stuff in a package, doesn't it? Well, it's not. And that's a whole lot. But think about how much you would spend if you bought packages to make up all of this. A butt ton. A lot. It's a lot. I'm gonna get this stuff cleaned up. Get my iron skillet cleaned up from last night. You know, I live here, so sometimes I don't always clean my iron skillet right after I use it. I put the leftovers in the fridge, and then I might put it like right there until the next day. And today's the next day. So I'm gonna clean it, and then I'm gonna get started. Let's do this. Okay, so I said I was cleaning out my iron skillet. When I do that, I don't dry. I do use water, but I don't dry on the inside. I just wipe off the bottom, and then I stick it on my burner. It might get a little scary looking because it dries it out a little bit. However, it's gonna be good. So the other thing is, let me grab my, no, it's white gold. It's pig fat. Seasoned pig fat. That is bacon grease. And I keep my this is bacon grease from I made that bean and bacon soup yesterday. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's yummy. However, I used somebody else's recipe. And even though I did tweak it while I was making it, because a lot of times that's what I do. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna taste good. It's just how my brain works. I went ahead and made even more changes to that recipe. So I can talk to you about that later, but bacon grease. So I just keep it out on the counter because I use it so much. This is starting to dry up, you can see. I'm not gonna dry that up. I'm just gonna let it go on the burner. This is how I do it every single time. I'm gonna get a couple of paper towels. If you don't wanna waste paper towels, get you some cotton or something. Get you something that you can get greasy. You know, if you want to use cloth, you're going to have to wash it. I would rather spend a couple dollars or whatever and get some paper towels and then use the paper towels for this. Pretty much the skillet that I use to cook everything with. This is a Lodge skillet. It used to have this surface, the Lodge surface used to have this kind of rough texture. I got brave about 10 years ago and I took a grinder to it and ground it down and then re-seasoned it. And this pan actually needs to be re-seasoned. I need to get that done soon. I'm gonna get a little bit of bacon grease. Lard is the best thing to use. You can also use Crisco. So it's almost done. I'm just gonna go over it like this, real lightly. Kristen, you might have paper towel thingies in your skillet. No, I don't have paper towel thingies in my skillet. No. And paper towel thingies wouldn't kill me even if I did have a little paper towel thingy in my skillet. If you're just gonna store this, shut off your heat. Give it another wipe to get all of the excess grease out. So I basically used one paper towel. I've got 4 pounds of ground beef that are thawed out. We have 3 children in school, and all of them do sports of some kind. And Josh, he drills water wells. He doesn't always get home at dinner time. I'm going to go ahead and get this chili canned up So rather than using my chili beans, I don't want to use those. They're already cooked in the jar. So if I used those, they would just be mush by the time they were done in the canner. If I soaked a bunch of beans last night, they will finish out in the canner. I'm going to brown up my meat. You want to let this preheat 5 to 10 minutes, and that makes it a little more non-stick. I'm going to use my little handy dandy doohickey here, my little chopper thingy. This one's stout too. It's not like I've seen some that are thin and floppy, and get you a stout one if you're going to get one. It's got a little thumb thing, and I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to get this browned in the pot, and then I will get the grease drained off of it, and then we'll bring in the big pot and get going. She's so sizzling. I just kind of move it around. Where's my little thingy? See my little thingy? I made it. When it comes to this chili seasoning, the amount that you use, you'll see in a little bit. I'm gonna scoop it, put it on there, mix it all up, give it a minute to cook. Then I'm gonna taste it. This is gonna need more salt, because if you were just making chili like with canned beans from the grocery store, unless you buy no salt added, they're gonna already have salt in them. When I go to make this in the pot, I'm going to add salt to the beans and cook them with a little extra salt, because those beans are gonna soak up that salt. So I've got to think about that. I do have 2 pounds of beans that are soaking. So this is going to be a lot of chili. That's okay, because we're canning it for later. My beans were soaked overnight. All I did was drain them and rinse them off, because you don't want to have all them gassy juices on your beans. Gotta rinse them off. In my pot. It's a pretty big pot. That's my 2 pounds of soaked beans. Breaking up the beef. Beef. Juices flying. It's going to take a while for this to cook. So I'll probably get it cooked, and then we'll come back. Oh no, I got the spot on my shirt. We're getting there. I don't like big old chunks of ground beef, so I do quite a bit of the breaking of the beef. I make my own taco seasoning too, so I'll have to show you guys that in the future. If you'd like to see that, let me know. I'm parched, y'all. Gotta have my tea. I'll just go ahead and put some music over the squishy sounds. I'll probably just speed it up too. Alright, looking good. Looking fantabulous. I would like to take you guys on this journey with me next year. If you stay tuned, you're gonna see I'm gonna have me a nice size garden. You'll be able to see me hopefully succeed. If I make any mistakes, then you'll see that too. I'm from Southern Missouri, but I am a registered nurse by trade, and I work in the Columbia area. And I graduated from Columbia College School of Nursing. Shout out to my alumni. All right, I think we're all browned up. Let's get this drained, get it in the pot. Now, some of you might go, oh my gosh, Kristen, What are you doing? Don't put that down your drain. Okay. I won't put it down my drain, and I won't use dish soap when I run my garbage disposal to get all the grease out. I won't do that. I'm just gonna let that drain for a minute and squat down. I'm only 5'1", so it doesn't take much for me to squat down to talk to you guys. I'm planning on getting one of those like bigger tripod thingies. But right now all I got's this little dinky one. And so I'm stretching. I'm getting my stretch on. Pretty much have all the grease drained off of that. Get that in the pot. I just strained it, and I got a garbage disposal down here, but I'm gonna turn on my garbage disposal. Hear that? It's doing the whooshy thing, getting the grease. There's got to be a better way I can do this. All right. Oh. All right. So we've got the beans in here, the meat in here. Put a couple quarts of water to start out with. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to add more water to it. Actually, I think I'm gonna put 2 more quarts in there because there's not enough liquid in that for the look appetizing yet. I'm just putting it at like a little over medium high. One of these days I hope to have my own tomato paste, but I don't right now. So we're using the canned stuff. I really don't have the freezer space if I made my own anyways. We've got a hog that we're getting in October. It's September something right now. So I don't even know. September like 8th or 9th or something. I'm getting us a hog. Whenever I use this big old pot, I use this big old spatula and stir that paste up in there. I think I'm gonna put another can of tomato paste in there. It's all about, you know, going with the flow whenever you're cooking. Just gotta get comfortable with making mistakes and going with the flow. Get it? Tomato paste. Get the tomato paste. Get it? Be careful, sharp edges. All right, so second 12-ounce can going in the pot. Well, if you can find tomato paste on sale, get you some. Yeah. Let's make that mark spot on. Oh yeah. This is looking fantabulous. Beautiful. It's looking beautiful. Am I the only one that gets excited? Obviously I get excited when it comes to food. Does anybody else dance when they eat French fries? I dance when I eat French fries. I did that on my first date with Josh ever. I ate ribs and French fries and danced. I think that's what did it for him. Dance. He's like, this woman probably can cook. I'm trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I can do more than dance when I eat French fries. All right, this, it's looking beautiful. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get the amount of seasonings. There's a lot of water in here right now. It's really liquidy. You can hear it. Really, it's like a soup right now. But those beans are gonna soak up a lot of that water, and I need to have salt in this water and spices in those beans. So whenever they become soft, they're chili spiced salty beans instead of just tomato water beans. If you put in here the amount of spices that you would put in for a pot of chili this size, which is like twice as big as what it's gonna be whenever the beans soak up the water. It's gonna be thicker and less volume. It might be too spicy. I'm gonna start with a half a cup of the seasoning. Mix that up. Oh, look at that color. Oh my gosh. Mona Lisa was a pot of chili. I think I can see Mona Lisa's smile. Looks like this. I am gonna give it a little bit of a taste just to see where I'm at. I definitely need, it tastes like mild chili soup. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in, I don't know where my teeny spoony went, but this is a half a teeny spoony. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in another 2 teaspoons of salt as a bean cooking buffer. If it's just on the salty side, I feel like that's okay, because I feel like those beans are gonna soak that up and even out the flavor of my chili soup. Now, this is for my family, so I didn't rinse off my spoon, and that's okay. I live here, y'all. It might need another teaspoon, you guys. All right, I'm going for it. All right, so that was a total of a tablespoon added for the beanie weenies. All right, we did it. Do you want to see my chili soup so far? We've got a long ways to go. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to let this cook. We don't want to cook it until the beans are completely cooked, because they're gonna finish in the jars in the canner. What we're gonna do is we're going to par cook them. We're going to cook them around about halfway. That's gonna be about an hour. So it's like 3:40-ish right now. I'm gonna check back in with you guys after this is cooked for an hour. We're gonna see how we are. We're gonna taste it, see what our liquid's like, go from there. We're doing it. It's foul, y'all. By the way, I'm gonna reduce the heat down to medium for this to cook. Otherwise it'll burn on the bottom because the beans are heavy, and you want to stir it, you know, often. You don't have to stir it frequently. I feel like telemarketers call frequently, even though you're on the do not call registry. They should call less often. It's been an hour-ish. Oh yeah. I start it probably like every 10 or 15 minutes during the hour-ish. Oh, it's looking beautiful, y'all. Let's look at this. Oh, look at that. It's still bean soup, though, right? Because the beans should still have a long ways to go. Let's give it a little tasty taste. Okay. All right, we're doing good. How about we try a couple of our beans just to see, or just one of our beans, see where we're at on that. Yeah. That is a perfectly not cooked bean. So it's definitely par cooked. So whenever I bit into it, it broke apart. So instead of mushing like a cooked bean, it breaks apart. And that's what you want, like a dry clay. It just, right? I do think that it needs another spoon I'm gonna put in another scoop of our seasoning real quick. See where we're at there. Stir that in. Oh, I smell the chocolate. Oh, man. Man, I wish that this was like, it was like Willy Wonka style smell-o-vision. All right, let's see. There's a lot of tasting going on. I think that like that's why like chefs, they've got like a bunch of spoons in the kitchen because they can't do this. They don't get, I mean, and probably at home they don't wash their spoon. Slap your mama. Slap your mama. That's good. It's good. Needs another teaspoon of salt and it'll be perfect. Slap your mama. Like, don't really, but you know, you get it. So what we got to do now is we got to get our canner ready. It's still liquidy, but that's okay. It's going in the jars. The liquid's going to go in the beans, and then it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to put the canner on this side because that's, everybody's got that, everybody's got like that one burner that doesn't like work right. That's this burner actually. I put my canner on this burner because it works right. This burner has ADHD and it forgets what it's supposed to be doing. I'm going to put my skillet in here because I don't want to clean it right now. I'll clean it when I'm done. I live here, y'all. You ready? I've got my canner. This is my pressure canner, Presto pressure canner. This type of lid. I've made sure that I can see through. I can see through the little hole. I can see light. And then you always want to make sure that this little thing right here is free. You got a good rubber seal on it. The amount of water that I have in here is like that much. It'll be warm by the time we get the jars in there. I got my jars ready to go. Got my lids here. Got my rings here. Got my vinegar here. What I'm going to do is mostly get the beans, and I'm going to fill it up probably about 2/3 of the way with the beans and the meatish. And then I'll go back through with liquid. But we don't want to fill it up more than that because those beans are going to expand in the jar. And we don't want to blow the top on this gig. By the way, the beans that I used were just red beans. Can you see what I'm doing? Ooh. Stay. Whenever I put this in the pressure cooker, it's gonna cook for 75 minutes. 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quart, because this has meat. I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, can kind of rebel style, and sometimes I do too, but when it comes to like meat, I don't really do the water bath canning for 3 hours, but you do you, boo. I know that that's been done in the Amish community for ages, and it's done in a lot of other parts of the world because the pressure canning thing is kind of like an modern American thing. But I've never water bath canned for 3 hours, and I have a pressure canner, so I'm gonna use it. There's a lot of trusted websites. USDA has one. The main thing is to follow your instruction manual for your canner. If you're thinking about doing this and you haven't yet, blank or get off the pot. You can do it. There's a lot of safety built into this equipment. You'll be okay. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill up with liquid on these and see how much I've got left. Now you want a 1-inch headspace, and if you're someone that struggles with siphoning, which usually happens because of lack of or trying to figure out the control of temperature, and give yourself a generous 1-inch. I know where my 1-inch mark is. It's like this mark right here on the jar. I don't know if you can see that. It's like this mark on the jar. I kind of go a little bit below it, like right there at the right where the neck starts to go in. Now when I do like beans, like I told you, my chili beans, I do those raw pack. I can show you that in a future video if you would like. Let me know down below. Try and just get the liquid right now. I think I'm gonna need more jars because there's quite a bit left in here. I've got like the fanciest depubler. It's a butter knife. Okay, just gonna go in here. Just cleaning off any of the food particles on the edge, all that good stuff. You want to make sure that your jars don't have any chips in them as you're going over the edges. If they do, if they have chips, guess what? If they're not bad, then they're just drinking glasses. Or it's like some fancy craft jar, but it's not a cannon jar anymore. They are still hot. Still hot to trap. Oh yeah. Finger tight. Finger tight in to the water. Some people put vinegar in their water, and that helps with hard water. However, I don't like to do that, even though right now we have hard water because we haven't gotten the salt for the water softener in a little bit. So even though we've got some hard water, I'll just deal with that rather than putting vinegar in the water because it'll make your lids and your rings rust. I've learned that the hard way. But once again, you do you, boo. Ooh, she a hot one, my little thingy. All right, I think that I am just about there. My canner holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I've got these. I think I got these off of Amazon. It came with 2. And just put that right on top and get the rest going. I've got 6 more jars. Let's see if we can get the rest of this soup in here. Or soup, chili. That's why you just gotta roll with it. I'm literally doing this like a 1/16 of an ounce at the time. Boop, almost. Everything in there. Get our canning wood, which it has an arrow on it to tell me to match up with this arrow. Ooh. Alright, turn it on high. I'm going to wait for steam to come out. This is gonna vent for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, then I will put my weight for my altitude on there. This gauge, it'll come up to 10 pounds of pressure. That's when I'll set my timer for 75 minutes. It has to stay at the 10 pounds of pressure for that 75 minutes. If this is rocking wildly, you can lower slowly, decrease a little bit at a time, decrease your temperature. Sometimes I get it down to almost low and it'll stay at the 10 pounds. So we'll come back in a little bit whenever we're rolling on this cannon. All right, y'all, it's happening. We're doing it. Don't yet have liftoff, but that's okay. It vented for 10 minutes. When the timer went off, I stuck that little bang right there on there. Should be rattling whenever that gets to the 10. That will rattle. Our little thingy thing is already up over there. So we're doing good. Ooh, it's happening. Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. It's happening. Wiggle, baby, wiggle. It's happening. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, setting my timer. 75 minutes. All right, it's the next morning, and I went ahead and let these jars come down to almost room temperature. It's actually like just this canning is just slightly still warm, even though I just like cracked the top and left it on overnight. But we're gonna go ahead and get these chili jars out of here and get them cleaned up because, like I said, there's little hard water stains. You can see those there. I'm gonna get these jars cleaned up and get them labeled. All right, I already pulled the top ones out. As you can see, this is not rust. This is like little bits of the chili that was probably on the jars whenever I put them in there. Let's go ahead and get these out. I'm going to label them up, but I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wait, let me count that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. I could have swore that there was an even number over there. Am I losing my mind? There were 4 rows of 3 or 5 rows of 3. Oh. 5 times 3 is 15. God, it's too early. What's today? Okay. Oh, it's yesterday. All right, y'all. Here it is. It's gonna be a nummy fall. And like I mentioned earlier on in the video, if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it. It does take a lot of time to make these videos. I'm learning about that. But it's something that I really enjoy. It'll let me know that you're enjoying it. It helps me out. Hit the like button, subscribe. I've got a lot more to show you guys. Thanks. Slap your mama. Like, don't really, but you know.